The October 8th, 2015 meeting of the Greater Dayton RTA Board of Trustees is hereby called to order. Would you stand for the roll, please? Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Hurd?
Here.
Mr. Hoagie? Mr. Corrado? Mr. Depp?
Here.
Ms. Hairston? Ms. Howard?
Present.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Lumpkin? And Mr. Williamson?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a quorum now, and we can conduct business. The first item on the agenda is an approval of the agenda, and there is one item to be added as a new business item, which is the resolution number 2015-10-1, authorizing the staff to seek MAP 21 flexible funding. Okay. So is there a motion to accept the agenda with the one addition?
So moved. Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. We adopt the agenda with the one addition. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The agenda has been adopted with the one addition. The minutes of the September 8th, 2015 board minutes have been previously submitted to board members for review. If there are no comments or questions or concerns, we will approve the minutes as they have been submitted. Are there any comments, concerns on the minutes? Then they are approved as previously submitted. Next on the agenda is the committee reports. As you know, the Finance and Personnel Committees have a joint meeting. This was held on September 22nd, and as a result, the Finance and Personnel Committee is recommending 2 action items for the board's consideration. In the absence of Chairperson Sharon Hairston, I will be presenting her report. Action item number 2, security fencing Longworth locations. The purpose of this procurement is to contract with a qualified fencing contractor for the purchase and installation of security fencing at the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority Longworth locations to enhance safety and security of RTA people and properties. The project will involve installing approximately 3,768 feet of security fencing enclosing currently unfenced areas, better securing some currently fenced locations, and more adequately defining RTA property lines. The successful contractor will provide all labor, materials, equipment, licensed survey work, permits, fees, and any other expenses required to successfully complete this project. Mr. Bill Ingram provided a detailed explanation at our committee meeting, and the supporting information is included in today's board package. Bill is available to answer any questions the board may have at this time. Since I'm chairing this meeting, I can't make this motion, can I? I can't?
You would entertain a motion.
Okay. At this time, I'll entertain a motion based upon the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee to award a contract to Allied Fence Builders Incorporated for security fencing Longworth locations in the amount of $548,000. This procurement will be funded 80% through federal grant funds. Is there a motion to that effect?
So motioned.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that we issue a contract to Allied Fence Builders. Would you call the roll, please? I'm sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The contract will be issued to Allied Fence Builders. The next is action item 3, third-party administrator for automobile liability. This procurement seeks a qualified third-party administrator to assist with the Greater Dayton RTA's self-insured auto liability retention program. The successful third-party administrator will handle all claims management services required by the RTA. Examples include conducting an analysis to determine validity and compensation, as well as make payments of valid claims for compensation. Ms. Mary Stanford provided a detailed explanation in our committee meeting, and supporting information is included in today's board package. Mary is available to answer any questions that the board may have at this time. At this time, I will entertain a motion based on the recommendation of the Finance Personnel Committee that a one-year contract with 2 one-year option periods be awarded to TriStar Insurance Group as a third-party administrator. The costs are as follows. Year 1 at $141,542, option year 1 at $144,373, and option year 2 at $147,260 for a total of $433,175. This procurement will be funded 100% with operating budget funds. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. It's been properly moved and second that we issue this contract to TriStar Insurance Group. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carried. The contract will be awarded to TriStar Insurance Group. Next, there is the report from the Finance Personnel Committee. At the meeting, we discussed the June 15 sales tax. Ms. Stanford reported that the receipts totaled $3.46 million compared to June 2014 receipts of $3.29 million. This represents an increase of $171,000 or 5.2%. The cumulative receipts for January through June of 2015 total $19.2 million. This compares to January through June of 2014 receipts of $18.07 million. This represents an increase of $1.13 million or 6.2%. Sales tax receipts continue to show strong growth for the current year, and it is likely this trend will continue for the remaining months of 2015. The August 2015 financial statements. Ms. Stanford presented the August 2015 financial statements to the committees. For the month of August, the net operating income after RTA depreciation expense was $568,000. This is $495,000 better than budgeted, largely due to higher sales tax and federal assistance revenues. Also factoring in were lower operating expenses for wages and benefits, contract services, and fuels and lubricants. Partially offsetting the positive variances were higher materials and supplies expenses. The year-to-date for August net operating income after RTA depreciation expense was $1.7 million, which is $1.9 million better than budgeted, largely due to higher sales tax, federal assistance, and investment revenues. Also factoring in were lower operating expenses for wages and benefits, contract services, fuels and lubricants, and utilities. Again, these positive variances were partially offset by lower operating revenues and higher materials and supplies expenses. We also, at this meeting, had a preliminary discussion for our upcoming 2016 operating revenue budget. Ms. Stanford distributed a spreadsheet detailing the various revenue categories related to the 2016 to 2020 operating budget. The various growth pattern assumptions were discussed, with most of the discussion hinging on sales tax revenue projections and passenger fare revenue projections. Growth continues with sales tax. However, declines have been seen with regard to passenger fares. More discussion will follow at the October jointly held committee meeting. Mr. Bob Rosinski distributed a detailed spreadsheet on federal funds allocations and awards for the time period 2007 through 2015. Mr. Rosinski described the federal funding process, how RTA allocates that funding towards both the capital budget and the operating budget. Historically, RTA has relied heavily on the federal funding to support the operating budget. However, with a heavy capital program over the next 5 to 10 years, more of the funds will likely be required to provide the local share or match for capital purchases. Thus, the operating budget will likely see reductions made during the upcoming 2016 budgeting process. More discussion will follow at the October jointly held committee meeting. At the meeting, Mr. Hoagie and Ms. Hurd thanked Mr. Rosinski for providing such an informative spreadsheet which breaks down in simple-to-follow format the federal funding revenues. The committees look forward to continued discussion on the 2016 through 2020 operating and capital budgets. That concludes Ms. Hairston's report. Planning Committee, Ms. Jones.
Thank you. As stated before, the Finance, Personnel, and Planning Committees met on September 22nd, and we have one action item to bring before you. As a recipient of the United States Department of Transportation Federal Transit Administration funding, the Greater Dayton RTA must comply with Title VI and environmental justice regulations. This is to ensure that the Greater Dayton RTA provides fair and equitable service delivery, amenities installation, customer outreach plans, and periodic service equity reviews. While the RTA is in compliance with the FTA Title VI program through November 30th, 2015, it is required the RTA Board of Trustees approve the submission of the updated 2015 Title VI program plan. Ms. Conley provided a detailed summary review of the updated Title VI program plan at the September 22nd meeting, and which supports the Chief Executive Officer's recommendation to submit the 2015 Title VI program plan to the Federal Transit Administration, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been properly moved and second that we handle the 2015 Title VI program. Would you call the roll, please?
No.
I'm sorry. Too many committees. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. The motion carried. We're in support of action item 4.
I have a little bit of a report to share. Mr. Eckler introduced RTA's new marketing manager, Ms. Jessica Hefner, and also included a planning and marketing summary which highlighted various events such as RTA's participation in UD's Camp Blue, the Wright State International Fair, and Sinclair's Tartan Plaza Party. There was also information about RTA's new website launch and August system service adjustments as well. And this concludes my report, and if there's any questions, Ms. Conley is available to address them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
At this point, we'll move on to the Chief Executive Officer's report.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. I do have some informational items. Congress is moving at its typical pace. I guess that would be a snail's pace. On our reauthorization of the Highway and Transit Bill, we do anticipate at this point that the House of Representatives will produce a bill by the end of this month. The question, as always, is will it be a 3-year, will it be a 6-year, and how will they pay for it? And there seems to be a great disagreement between the Senate and the House on the pay-for side of the bill, so we'll see what happens. Timing being what it is, it worked out that Anthony and I are meeting with Congressman Turner next week, so we'll have an opportunity there. He's not on the key committee on this issue, but obviously he can help get our message through regarding the bus and bus facilities funding, which is our biggest target to get that reestablished and get it back to the levels that it was under Safety Lou. So we'll be working on that continuously. Also want to just give you a heads up. ODOT every year has what's called the OTEC Conference. It's the Ohio Transportation and Engineering Conference. Several of us are presenting. I know Bob's presenting, I think, on a panel, and I'm on 2 different panels, one involving bikes and transit and the other one on funding in general, and that's coming up towards the end of the month. You're also aware that we just returned from a couple of meetings out west, the American Bus Benchmarking Group. We had a great meeting in the Stockton area with that group. For those who have been around long enough, you know, we started this benchmarking group with 8 transit systems across the states. We added our 20th at this meeting. And now the debate is, are we getting too large to be manageable, which I describe as a good problem. So we had a great meeting. There was a great exchange on a number of issues. Interestingly, we took a tour. Stockton's new operating facility has the fence you just approved us purchasing. So I got a firsthand view of what it looks like at a bus garage. I was very impressed. They have a great operation there. And again, I was approached about some support, in essence, loaning one of our folks to help one of the systems. And of course, we're very open to doing that with them absorbing the cost and committing in advance, not trying to hire our people away. But that's probably going to happen here in the near future. But it's a great meeting. The APTA meeting, most of the focus was on the federal reauthorization and things of that nature. And there were some good sessions. The technology sessions were fantastic, especially having to do with where this industry is going in terms of information, how people wish to get it, and what means the most to people. And it's interesting that all the surveys always come back. People want their bus on time. They want it to be reliable, clean, and safe. Those are kind of the things that never change. But real-time information, probably the biggest key going forward, because overwhelmingly people say, I'd rather have real-time information than more frequent bus service, which is an interesting thought. You know, those old schoolers like myself always think increased frequency is the answer to everything. Well, if you're New York City, yes. If you can go to 3 minutes between buses, then yes, you never have to worry. But all in all, good conferences. I'm going to pass some pictures out. A few months back, the board approved a contract for a company called DTK out of Germany to come in and help us with our infrastructure challenges. And the project was literally to measure the thickness of all 124 miles of our service wire on the electric system. The 2 pictures you're going to see are the folks in action. There's 4 people from Germany here and a couple people, well, as many as 3 at a time from our shop out there on the truck at night. And the work continues. We hope to get it wrapped up here in the next day or so and let them return home. But it's been an interesting project. The computer you see in the one picture, we literally will get a kind of a digital report that'll show us anywhere in the system exactly where our wire issues are, the thickness and all of that. It's really going to go a long way to supporting our future capital plan for where our infrastructure is best, worst, and in between there, and then how we can prioritize the overhauls on the system going forward. So great project, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results. We've only had one little hiccup, I think, regarding the truck, and they got that squared away during the day while everyone was sleeping, I guess, who was working overnight to get these things done, so that's great. One last item, I just wanted to make sure for those who've never met Laura Estandia, who is the Executive Director of Bike Miami Valley, our great partners in the Link Bike Share program. That's her back there in the back of the room coming to visit today. And so it's great that she's here, and she'll probably come more often because we have this very close relationship to keep those bikes running. I checked out the San Francisco Bike Share. It's got nothing on ours, so nothing at all. So it was great. And unless there are questions, that's all I have to report tonight.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. We have no old business. We have 2 items under new business. The first is the Sinclair Community College levy. Just a comment. By general consensus, we as individual board members have chosen to endorse the Sinclair Community College levy, because we can't direct them what to do. But we as individual board members have chosen to endorse the levy. The next item is new business item number 1, which is Resolution 2015-10, authorizing the staff to seek MAP 21 flexible funding to support transit projects. The Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority has been notified by Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission regarding the solicitation of new transportation projects under the Surface Transportation Program, STP. Once submitted, applications for the proposed new projects are to be reviewed and evaluated for possible inclusion in the State Transportation Improvement Program, TIP. In reviewing the region's transportation needs, staff has developed the attached project that is eligible for flexible funding, and the proposal has been scrutinized in the context of the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission practices and policies. Competition for these funds is expected to be substantial. Applications are due October 8th, 2015, and require the board's approval of the attached resolution. Based on the recommendation of the Chief Executive Officer, I will entertain a motion to approve Resolution Number 2015-10-1, authorizing the submittal of all necessary documents and the fulfillment of all other requirements in order to obtain additional funding for projects approved by the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission. Is there a motion to that effect?
Madam Chair, I will so move on the condition Mr. Rudzinski is going to make it, so,
By the
5
deadline
o'clock.
date.
by the deadline date.
Exactly.
He's good to go.
Because the deadline was actually 1 p.m., but I had to give the authorization.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Just a comment, from time to time, well, our approach, led by Bob, is we go after any potential source of funding. These are highway funds we're going after, which makes it even more challenging, and we will be competing, I would imagine, with highway projects to some degree. And sometimes we get these with very little time. Sometimes they're between board meetings, and that's why we're here today. And often they require a specific board resolution like this one, and that's why it's coming to you in this way. But our approach is always apply for everything everywhere, because as you saw, I think at last month's joint committee meetings, we have a significant capital need in the coming years, and any source we can go after to bring in new funds to help us with bus and infrastructure replacement. We're going to be doing that. So.
Well, it has been properly moved and second that we have a resolution to submit the necessary documents, et cetera. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Let's submit the documents, especially since I've signed them.
Authorize the documents.
Well, and Madam Chair, let the record reflect that this was teed up to the board prior to
Yes,
today.
we did have it before today's meeting.
We just didn't have the opportunity to vote on it before the last board meeting, so.
Would you please make sure the records reflect that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Next, we have public comment. And according to our guidelines, the speakers must read, sign, date, and complete the form to the Secretary Treasurer of the Greater Dayton Regional Transit Authority before the RTA Board of Trustees public meeting. As we did not receive any public speaking request forms before the meeting began, we will not have any public comments today. Next, we have board member comments and announcements. I'll start down with you, Sharon. Ms. Howard?
Nope, none for me.
Okay.
I have nothing.
None at this time.
I have none.
I'd just like to apologize for my tardiness, but did not get back from Columbus as quickly as anticipated.
Okay.
Nothing?
Okay. Is there a need for an executive session?
No, there isn't, but I would just offer the opportunity to those who wanted to make public comments if there's, service-related issues or something like that. As always, we're here to talk to folks after the meeting. Yeah.
Okay. And we did have Ms. Ruby Thompson who said she wanted to talk about bus service. So you can meet with Miss Ruby Thompson can meet with you after the meeting?
That's Ruby.
Okay. Next, if there is no other action to come before the board, you do have your board meetings, upcoming board meetings on your agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Motion carried, meeting adjourned.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
From the